Area 419 has just released their own scope rings, and these are a little bit different. Gavin here from UltimateReloader.com. I'm back with Craig Arnson from Area 419. Thank you for joining us, Craig.
Thanks for having me, Gavin.
Yeah, we've been talking about the new products that Area 419 has brought to market. You're going to want to check out the M-Series die video.
Yep.
0 dies from Area 419. This is something that I think is pretty cool. These are the match scope rings from Area 419. Why don't you tell us a bit about these?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when we got into what does a scope ring need to do, the core feature is it needs to hold an optic with an appropriate amount of grip, an appropriate amount of force in a straight line. It's not terribly difficult what they need to do. But the reality of manufacturing a part like this is it lends itself to making disparate parts and hoping that you have held something, you've held interpolated roundness on multiple parts in a way that you're going to really get square and true. That's really tough. We have the nicest machining centers on the planet. You can't buy anything better than what we've got. But the reality of manufacturing is if you want a hole that is very round and very true, it's great to bore it all in one piece. So around that idea, we have designed our match scope ring. The match is the first in what will be a line that includes our tactical one-piece mount, as well as our hunt lightweight ring.
Cool.
So we're starting kind of in the middle here with your traditional two-piece ring system in what is kind of a middle weight in that match class. Available now for pre-order in 30 and 34 medium, but high-low 30, 34, as well as 35, 36, and conceivably at some point like 1 inch, all coming into the fold. We will have the variety of SKUs that you've come to expect in scope rings.
So now tell me this. There's sort of two different rail configs on rifles. You've got separate rails that screw down to the receiver, and you've got integral rails, whether they be level or 20 MOA, whatever that happens to be. Is this particular product targeted more towards one end of the spectrum or the other?
Yeah, so one-piece mounts kind of blew up 5-6 years ago, you know, around the time Spur rolls this thing out and somebody thinks, why would I ever need this? This is massively overpriced. This is absurd. I love Haken. It's a great product. But the problem he was solving was people mounting optics to a rail that was then mounted to a receiver, and when that receiver was, let's say, a factory Remington 700, and maybe those holes weren't square, there were a whole series of problems, and that one piece gave him additional rigidity to keep things in line that he needed. Since that time, you've got your Defiance, and your Impact, and your Terminus, and
Bat
your
TR,
Bat, and your whole litany of precision rifle actions where your Picatinny rail is integral to the body. It is steel. It is cut at the same time. That's a straight rail.
It's straight and it's rigid and it's awesome.
And that has almost given a rebirth to the idea that you can make a super accurate two-piece ring system and not have to worry about what's going on underneath it. So, you know, if you're the person who's got a Remington 700 or a Bergara or something like that, and then you're additionally stacking on top of it a rail, and then additionally stacking on top of that a scope mount, maybe the one-piece tactical that we'll roll out in 2023 will be the right product for you. But this is targeted at that thick middle of our audience, that guy who's got a custom rifle or something built on one of the new modern custom actions, and says, you know, I like the idea of the two-piece. It's simple. These are in at a more responsible price point, I'll say, of $220. When we get into our tactical one-piece mount, that will be a price point that may make the comments really upset here. But, you know, being in that $200 ballpark for a really nice set of rings, we think is a fair and reasonable place to be, especially when you look at what we're doing and taking the steps to get these bores truly finished, together, in alignment. As we're making these, like anyone else making scope rings, we are making a handful of parts in different machines and different operations, and sending them off to anodize. Most companies, when they're making that ring, when those parts come back from anodize, they assemble them, put it in a box, and there you go. We know that the kind of disparate part manufacturing method doesn't make a ton of sense when you want something that is really, really round and paired to itself. So when our parts are coming back from anodize, we're then assembling them using custom shims so that we are getting gap between the upper and lower cap, and you can get clamping force, putting them back in a machine, final boring them. That also allows us to have a raw aluminum internal for that additional grippiness, that additional stickiness.
And you've also got sort of ring grooves here. So
If you're using lapping compound or you're looking for some sort of surface, because this raw aluminum will compress just a bit, not much, an imperceptible amount.
Right.
But you're getting good grab around with friction in the hoop, as well as back and forth with this lockup. This is a popular design too on the inside of rings. We're not the first people to do this, but it gives a different grabbing dynamic that we really like. These are going back in the machine, fully assembled. They're being final bored as a set, coming off as that set, and then going to a laser and being serialized together so that you know the set that you're getting was made together, matched to one another, and they are as true to one another as modern manufacturing will allow them to be. And that is how we know we can deliver a scope ring that is as precise as we possibly can, that's going to do its job as well as it possibly can.
I like these locating pins here as well. So that these parts are going to align perfectly, and the screws are just going to basically clamp them together. More or less.
We want the screws to be for force, not for alignment.
Yep.
So this upper cap is attached to the base with some small dowel pins that guide it up and down. So when these go down, they come down straight on.
Yep.
This helps avoid the idea of tightening, twisting your optic, because the allowable movement for them is substantially constricted because of the guided pins.
Yep. There's also some nice rounded corners. These feel nice in the hands, and I'm guessing when you're in a PRS environment, there's going to be that much less to irritate things, right?
And at the same time, if you're spending real money on a set of rings, which you are here, we want to make them as nice as we can make them.
Yep.
The idea of not running another tool to get rid of a corner or get rid of a line, we're going to run the extra tool. We're going to take the extra time. We're going to do it right, because that's what we're building a brand on. And if we're going to say, spend your hard-earned money on this product, we're going to make it the best way we possibly can.
Totally love it. Now, you talked about pricing. How about availability to the general public? Timeline.
So our 30 and 34 mediums, which are available for pre-order now, we're looking at shipment in early January. So really, really soon. And as soon as we are beginning to assemble and get ready to ship the 30 and 34 medium.
Tell me 35 is coming, please.
Really, really soon. It'll be next.
The Mark V HD needs these.
I would guess by January 15, there will be people with tracking numbers for 30 and 34, as well as the ability to go in and pre-order and purchase 35s, as well as some different heights. Maybe a 36 by then. 36 is less of a priority than 35, obviously, but is still very much on the list. But we want low, medium, high, and 30 and 34. Low and 35 and 36 gets a little bit wonky because of we want low to mean one specific height, and you start running out of space in that optic being larger as it is. But more SKUs coming very quickly. And as soon as we feel really comfortable with the two-piece option, let's get to the one-piece.
Very cool. This is exciting. I'm looking forward to getting these rings on a rifle, getting an optic mounted with them so that I can get some really hands-on time with them. Here's what we'd like to know is, what do you think of these new Area 419 match scope rings? What would you run with these? What rifle would you run them on, and what scope would you hold down with these rings? Drop a comment and we'll start a discussion. Thank you, Craig, for coming.
Thanks for having me.
This has been great. Great preview of this product. I'm really excited about that. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. If you're interested in custom rifles like what we build here on the channel, or gunsmithing services, you're going to want to go to rifles.ultimatereloader.com and get on the wait list. If you're interested in becoming a professional gunsmith, check out the Sonoran Desert Institute. They've got a degree program, they've got a certificate program, and you can study from home. Learn more at sdi.edu. Thanks again for watching.